I told you during the break that I wanted to talk about evil.
Yes. And you told me many weeks ago, and from the beginning you said, I want to talk about evil.
Because this podcast is about the belief systems of people. And I have a lot of Catholic friends who see the devil as an almost physically existing person. So not a force or something abstract, but a person. And although they say that evil is the absence of good, what I feel a lot in their being is a strong dualism, condemning the devil.
Another kind of bypass, then.
Well, I have had intensive discussions in my very close proximity, but I see the devil. My basic question is actually, what is the genesis of evil? The official Catholic story, and I'm talking from a Catholic point of view because I was raised Catholic, not very heavily or strongly, but the idea is that the most magnificent angel, which was Lucifer, the smartest, the most beautiful, riled against God, wanted to be God, and then God pushed him out of the skies, out of the heavens. That's what they say.
Okay.
Now, I have been searched in vain for the conversation between God and the devil. Because if God is all loving, he should at least have a conversation with the devil that is riling against him and ask him, poor devil, why are you coming against me? There's no record of any conversation about that. So I think it's quite irrational for God to have evicted the devil. And maybe that's why the devil wants to inflict harm as much as possible to see, notice me, I have not been seen. Is that a crazy hypothesis, or does that ring a bell? Or?
Well, it seems to diminish both God and the devil to me.
Okay.
Know, that in India, the God as the absolute is called anima. That's to say, the one that cannot be known, because in the condition that we are here in these, in this, like say, dimension, in these dimensions, with time and space, and this vibration, where our essence is inverted, coming through the senses, and has to constantly go out through the senses in order to experience the world, which then retreats a little bit at night in sleep, and then meditation is to really retreat our energy back into ourselves. That's why meditation feels so good and is maybe the only true escape from earth or from your troubles or anything, because you get the answers in the escape. You get what you need in the escape.
But why would it be diminishing God and both God?
Yeah, and so God is not known. So
it's unknowable.
Unknowable in our state. And I think a lot of us end up anthropologizing God a lot, and the devil as well. And I think if you say God is love, you have it. If you say God is truth, you have it. Very simply. I think God is simple, and God is one. And I think we are all God, and I think God is in everything.
Whoa, not too fast. We are all God, I don't agree.
God is in all of us. Let's say it that way.
Because that's what the Satanists believe. That
no. Not like the ego. We are God. No. Yeah. Wrong. God is in us.
Okay.
And when I was also raised Catholic, so yeah, I was an atheist for quite a while, because my trauma had rendered me, so stupefied, if you will, and emotionally numb, that I could not possibly believe that there was any good, benign force, because I had pushed everything away, including the beautiful experiences, the spiritual experiences that I had in childhood, including a big near-death experience where I was on the other side of the ether consciously, and having this beautiful experience of what it's like, this glimpse of enlightenment.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. I had something similar, but to being to the other side. Can I first say what I felt?
Yeah.
In 2013, I think that was the worst year of my life. Nothing compared to your life, of course, but my father got breast cancer. My brother was divorcing. My girlfriend had left me. I had no job. I was through my savings. I did not know what to do, and any project I started failed. I had 9 different projects. Nothing made money, and I was not sleeping anymore. So I went to bed at 2 o'clock, lay awake for 2 hours, and I got up at 4. And I thought I was the king of the hill, and I was impervious to. I didn't have to sleep anymore. And then in the summer of 2013, I completely crashed, and I sat on my bed, and all of a sudden the room started to all the material objects started to tremble, and I think that in the depths of your despair, there's your pineal gland is spouting DMT into you or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's my theory. I don't know. In any case, for what seemed an eternal moment, that's a strange thing to say, I felt one with everything. Mm-hmm. Actually, there was not an I anymore. That's the thing. And that is when I really realized that, God exists. In the sense that it is an impersonal... I equate it with infinity, basically. And okay, but it's a long story. I don't want to take too much time. I want to have you talking. But I did not go to the other side because there was no other side. Unity is unity, period.
Sure. I call it that because... the barrier is the ether. So,
where did you go then? Not to unity, apparently.
No, I mean I stayed right where I was, but my consciousness was invited into what I think is where we go after we pass. That is the way back. I mean, I saw the light was there, very present. I mean, the light was there a lot. I saw this light in front of me. When I spent 5 days in that mansion without food. So I sort of naturally started meditating, and I saw this light. And this light is very beautiful. It's inviting. It's subtle, yet bright, and it's round. And I was getting messages from the light. So.
And how do you know that's God? Because...
I'm not saying that it's God, but I'd call it the light, yes.
Maybe an angel or something like that.
When I went to the other side, much later, several months after that, is when I transcended. That light was very present. And then I write about it in the book. Then it was a very particular moment, and then that light came over me. So I stayed, but I went through the light. If you look at our physical being, we have our medulla oblongata, which is the brainstem.
Yes.
So the first cell in the mother's womb is the beginning of the brain cell.
Okay.
That is how the spirit that we are comes into the body by that first cell. And it's also the portal. And when you see this light here in the third eye, which is a reflection of that light that really comes from the back of your neck at the brainstem, which is the portal back into the other dimension. So you are moving it, our consciousness, let's say, moves you. People describe a tunnel of light. Mm-hmm. And I saw the light come over me. And then I was into the next dimension with these beings of light. And my experience was, first of all, this is more real than anything I've ever experienced. And I experienced tremendous love. And because the love was so great, I felt completely blissful. And I experienced myself as bliss.
You experienced yourself as bliss.
Yes.
But is there an I at that moment?
There was. Because I was not completely free from all my bodies. I was in my body of light. And then apparently there is a causal body after that.
You're talking about the ethereal body there.
Yeah, the ethereal body of light, which we lose our physical body, we go back to our ethereal body. So I was in my body of light, and from that spark of consciousness, which we all are, seeing other beings of light who'd already, say, graduated from this earth plane. Nobility, you speak of nobility. Well, nobility, that's all I can say, is in their features, the nobility of their good actions and their open heart. And that experience, I received that experience because I needed an example as to what to strive for in the healing.
Yes.
Because without it,
you have no reference.
I had no reference.
It was the same. Yeah.
So I had to go there, get there, which may seem harder to get to. The path of truth and the path of looking at the pain may seem harder than all the escapes that the world offers. All the substitutes that the world offers. And really, when you're looking at evil, when you're looking at the evil that people do, they are all looking for the substitute of that. They're looking for the substitute of the true love, which is God. In the weirdest ways. I mean, in the ways that they best know how, except looking, a man who rapes a child, it might be hard to believe that that man is actually looking for love. But as the child who was raped by these men, I know that they were. Because I know that they brought this most vulnerable part in themselves to me, which was safe to them. That's to say, the part that was not loved.
That's the most vulnerable part.
Yeah.
So when somebody's showing aggression, they're showing vulnerability then, or not?
When someone is showing aggression, they are externalizing their own fears.
Yeah, you have this great line, I don't know where it is, but it was something like, what was it?
Fear is I don't know.
I have it in my WhatsApp. I think it's a great line. One moment. Anneke.
But when someone is aggressive per se and sadistic, maybe that's not what I'm talking about right now. But what I often saw with the way in which I was trained in the mind control training, I did see they would show me their vulnerable side. They would show me their own fears. I got it out of them quickly because I was trained to see weaknesses, so I saw it quickly. And they let me see it quickly because they felt the hope there that I can...
For release. Yeah.
That I can fix that, or that I can, soothe them like a bomb. So they would show me their weaknesses, and I saw that in the weakness I could read that was the little unloved child.
I don't find it right now.
And then I could pretend to love that. Of course.
Pretend to love that.
Yes, because they know it's not real because I'm forced to do it. So they know it's not real. But in the moment, emotionally, they're getting that experience of love.
A facsimile experience, like...
Yes, exactly.
A look-alike experience.
A substitute.
Yeah.
A substitute for the real thing, for which you need courage first.
Which they lack.
Yes. The courage means that you can face those fears. And the greatest fears are always based on these messages that you are not the light and you are not that beautiful being that you actually are. If you fear that those are true, you can become a psychopath, you can become a narcissist, you can do all sorts of things to repress that fear. Because psychopaths, it's like they don't even feel that fear anymore, but they have it, and everything they do comes from fear.
So actually that is, so projection is one big psychological thing, and the other one would be compensation.
Seeking love in all the wrong places. I mean, seeking a substitute for love through all their addictions. Yeah. Or through substituting spiritual for material things, substituting love through rape, substituting release from fear through violence.
It's very paradoxical. I have never seen it that way.
Well, that's what we are, is the realm of duality. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have connection to spirit, which I believe when you come in the world, normally you have connection to spirit. That's reflected by the people who love you. Then you can know who you are and you can connect to yourself. The psychopaths all of them, they didn't have that ability to even go back. They had no human idea of self, which is spiritual, which is beyond the physical.
Yeah.
So if I don't have that, well, I can invite demons in to take my body over, and I can be in the occult, but it doesn't mean I'm not hyper-materialist, because I have no sense of self, which is spirit, which is light. Mm-hmm. At the essence, to go back to that self and essence, I think, is our task in life.
Yeah.
And to find it again, and that takes courage. It takes courage means to feel the fear. Courage is already spiritual, though, you see. You can't be courageous unless you trust that something is greater than yourself and will catch you.
Yes, that's true. But yes, I'm fascinated by the genesis of it. So you have this psychopath abusing you. He was abused by his father or mother or whatever. That abuser was abused. So if you go back and back and back and back, what is the initial? How can a God that is all? How can, even if we leave aside the personal God, even if we talk about forces and infinity, and how can evil even start?
Well, that's creation, isn't it? It is dualistic. So doesn't it say somewhere in the Bible that God created good and created evil?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, God created, the Lord, created all these things. It was created. It's inherent in our creation. It's our task to transcend creation by going back to the truth. Why we are here, I don't know. How we have gotten here, I don't know.
I have a theory about that.
Okay.
If you're interested.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Okay.
Why? It might challenge your beliefs or what? Or you
I don't think so, no.
You made up your mind.
Well, I saw my guru on the other side, my teacher, Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda. And Paramahansa Yogananda founded Self-Realization Fellowship. I am in Self-Realization Fellowship. That is my meditation path. That's my path. Now, one thing about Yogananda is that he's open to the truth in all religions, which is something I really love about him, that it's not like my path or, my way of the highway at all. Respecting all paths. But this is my path. And Yogananda is my teacher. And so when I read his words, and which is almost all I read, I have to say that I do feel very strongly that I'm in the presence of truth, and I was in his presence. So I don't have a great need for other theories, if that makes sense. And
no, maybe I'm too cerebral about it, trying to figure out, while you should just, accept that some things cannot be figured out.
Well, I don't think in our state it could be figured out. In our state, in the human condition, which has our energy going out through the senses, and in meditation we reverse. It's called, the fifth step in yoga is called pranayama. So is to bring the energy, to draw the energy back into the self so that we're literally not aware of the body when we're meditating. And in SRF, the meditation is concentration on God.
That's what you did in the chapel back there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we try. But when you meditate a lot and when you keep healing, healing is spiritual because when you integrate, there's magic to it. You know, like I do the work and then there's a spiritual component to it that is the magical, that I don't know when I'm going to transform, but suddenly I have this inner message that I'm good now, that this is over, that I'm there, or that everything's going to be all right. Or in my, say, I suffered a lot. And I suffered because I was feeling the feelings that had been repressed, that I had to repress to survive.
Yes, and then they come out later, and then you feel them again.
And then I feel them again. But now, I still have memories, I still have flashbacks. And of course, in the beginning, when I have a flashback, I don't necessarily believe that it's real. I have to test it to make sure that it's something that I'm not imagining.
How do you test that?
Well, I sit with it first, and then usually what starts to happen is, it's like, well, if that is true, then it would explain why blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Abduction is called, yeah.
And then after a while, it clearly explains so much. So now I'm rationally with it. And then it's not necessarily chronologically like that. It can come from the body first, but then there's there may be a body component to it, and then there's definitely the feelings. Once I feel the feelings, then I know it's real, because then I've experienced that. Then the experience is mine, and is integrated, and it's getting integrated. And as I'm feeling that grief that has been repressed, and it's connected to its source, I'm also growing in wisdom, because now that child part has grown up and has had a loving reflection that it didn't have in childhood. Now I'm one, and I'm more empathic towards others. I'm more able to love. I'm more whole, but I'm more connected to myself as spirit. I'm less egoic, because it's the young parts in ourselves that make ourselves egotistical. The ones that haven't been seen or heard, they're the ones that are making trouble for us. But then we look at them lovingly, we find them as our own self-adult, lovingly looking at those parts that are too ashamed or whatever it is, and embrace them.
I have nothing to add. I fully agree. But I'm still not satisfied with your take on the Genesis. You say creation involves duality. And of course, on a purely physical level, you have matter and space. And so that is already duality.
Maybe I don't know what you mean.
Maybe I'm not that clear. I try to track, if you track back the deeds that have been done to you, look at the parents of the people who did that to you.
Yeah.
They have abused their children. The fact that they abuse their children means that they have been abused.
So there's...
So where does it end? Where does it go up?
Okay.
Back to the first
well,
cell
now I'll share a belief with you.
I could. That's why we're here.
Okay. So the guru of my guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, has written a little book called The Holy Science, in which he draws the connection to Christianity and Hinduism, by the way, through the scriptures.
Okay.
Yes, and it's it explains how the physical manifestation of our creation comes into being from the One.
Okay, and how does it happen?
Well, I can't summarize that. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. I can't summarize that book. But what I can do is that in the preface, he's an astrologer, and he and Hindu philosophy talks about yugas, and yugas are time frames, and he says that they are wrongly calculated, and he says that the real cycle. So yugas means that our solar system, which has its dual, which has a dual star, moves either towards or away from, in the universe, moves towards or away from a magnetic seat in the universe that defines our virtue.
Virtue?
Yes.
Okay.
And if we move closer toward it, man becomes more
virtuous,
light, more aware, more one. But it's always a duality, so there's still war even in the height of the golden age. And then we move away from it to the dark ages. So the dark ages is called Kali Yuga, and is a time when man, when it's furthest away from that magnetic seat, when man can only comprehend matter. And that's to say the Middle Ages and before the Middle Ages. And Christ came right before to lead man into these dark times, according to this, to help man, to help mankind going into these dark times. And you had saints at all ages, but they would flog themselves because they didn't have anything. They didn't have awareness of finer, of subtler energies. But then we've already moved into the next yuga, which is called the Dwapara Yuga. And that started in about 1800s, and right in 1700 electricity was discovered. And of course, what we have now, supposedly, is we are in the beginning of this Dwapara Yuga. So all the turbulence in the world would be because man comes out of the dark ages.
Yeah.
Yes, and we, obviously the people, the psychopaths who want to control the world, we call it old school because it's the dark ages. It's selfish, narrow-minded, physical, matter. That's their mind. And man's consciousness is largely still in the dark ages, whereas technology has transcended the dark ages. We are discovering the finer energies, but at this time they're still all being exploited to be used for dark purposes. So man's motives have to change, and that is happening. And as I say, I see only light because people can listen to me, people want to know the truth increasingly. And as I said, younger people are much more filled with light.
Yeah, I fully agree, and I have come to think of newborns as coming from the future. We think in causal terms, cause and effect. But the Greeks knew four forms of causality. And one of them was teleology, not theology, but teleology. And that comes from telos, and telos means goal. And so if you read Plotinus, I don't know how you say Plotinus in English, it's Plotinus in Dutch. And we come from unity. Unity got lost, we don't know how, but we shattered like in all bits and pieces. And now we are trying to refine that unity. And we can only do that by transcending duality. That's actually the same what you are saying.
Yes.
So I agree that in every culture and religion there is a core of truth that is expressed in different cultural ways. And actually that is the goal of Epoché, to show people that we should postpone judgment on the metaphors other people use.
Yeah.
I think it would be a better world if we could just translate the metaphors into our own language without thinking of them as different.
Yes, and focus on the essence rather than the physical expression of it, but rather focus on the essence. That is to say, to go within.
I think the essence is invisible.
Exactly, go within.
Yeah. So in Christian terms, that would be the kingdom of God lies within.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about that because, as I told you, I have a lot of contacts with Catholics, and to them it's prayer, and it's a fixed form of prayer.
Yes, prayer is wonderful, but prayer always is sending outward. Whereas meditation, you could say that prayer could be talking to God and meditation is listening to God. And there's this really beautiful story that I like where, oh gosh, I'm going to get this wrong, am I? Oh yes, somebody said, you know, shh, I'm listening to God. Somebody said, what is he saying? And the person answered, he's listening to me. When you meditate, first it's challenging physically because you have to become still physically. Once you get still physically, your mind will follow, and then you can focus. And the idea is to focus on God, but you might first do exercises to concentrate better. And yeah.
When you say focus on God, if I translate that to my system of beliefs, that would mean that you focus on infinity. And I don't know how to focus, which is the concentration of energy, on the whole.
Yes, that would be difficult. Well,
or maybe a point is the whole.
Well, yes, the practice of focusing certainly helps with the stillness. You could just practice focusing, lifting your gaze slightly. You know, I see that light here, but sometimes when I'm practicing lifting the gaze, well, I always practice that in the meditation, but you could just practice that, practicing lifting the gaze and sitting still. And you'll instantly feel rather still if you do it, because when you lift your gaze, you're actually putting your consciousness in the right place.
I'm fascinated by how is it possible that having lived through all you have lived through, that you're talking here now with such ease about meditating and like...
Well, the spiritual is the most important aspect of all of it, obviously. I needed to go through this experience.
Let us enter into that. There's this theory I detest, and it is the theory that whatever happens to us in our life is what our soul wanted to experience.
I don't know. It could be facile to say that. I don't want to sound like it's facile. Because it can be, again, it can be a way of actually not being empathic with someone, right? If you say,
yeah,
oh, well,
course.
You really wanted this.
Yeah, you're so... And I that's why I say I detest that
notion,
theory.
Yeah.
But it's becoming very popular, like in New Age middles, like, yeah, well, it happened. That's like a way of bypassing as well, no? It happened to him or her because...
Could be. It could be bypassing.
I don't know. I'm asking.
Well, from a spiritual perspective, this may be true. And I don't know, if...
How?
Well, I know that I've needed this.
You've needed this.
My healing process has given me what I would have never gained otherwise. Because...
Okay.
I think that I have learned to love through this healing process. I have learned to understand the most evil of men and even love them, if I dare say so.
Yes, I get what you mean.
Well, I didn't have that understanding before coming into this life.
Okay. But that's not... it's like saying, well, there's a hole in my roof and I'm happy I have a new roof now, because if there wouldn't be a hole in my old roof, I wouldn't have had a new roof, something like that.
Well, why are we here?
You tell me.
Well, to transcend duality, so as not to need compulsively return to Earth to work out, to learn this kind of thing, to learn to love fully, to open our heart completely.
Okay, but why should anybody go through such an ordeal to learn that? I have learned also, I think.
But what if I tell you that it was to my greatest benefit? Would you believe that? I don't wish it on anyone else.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's.
And I have cursed God more than I've praised him. I can, tell you that. Because it's very difficult. I don't want to make light of it in any way. I don't wish this on anyone.
This is maybe a key question. Is there any moment where you felt like you had to forgive God?
No.
But you were cursing him, so you must have felt...
because I didn't feel like I was getting enough help. Because it was very hard. I was feeling very painful things.
Well, you could say that Patrick helped you in his own curious
No, but
way.
I'm talking about when I'm an adult, when I was an adult and when I was...
Coping with
feeling the grief and feeling the losses, feeling the losses of the other children.
He didn't put a therapist on your road for 10 years.
I did have a therapist who...
Yeah, but you told me that it took 10 years for you...
Yeah, to find one
to find a therapist
someone
that actually,
who could help it,
yeah,
who could handle it.
Then you might have felt like, hey, God, I'm being all...
But this was after the therapist. See, the therapist, everything comes gradually. With the mind control, I had actually a lot of tools to live in the world.
Yeah, that's true, actually. You can manipulate your way into anything, I would say.
I wouldn't call it manipulation, but let's say that because I knew how to attract men, I could always get a job. Not, as a prostitute, but at some menial job I could always get because...
Giving them the impression that they could have sex with you.
No. Just because they would become attached to me because I did that automatically. I didn't know that I was doing it.
And how is that not manipulation?
Well, I don't want to call it manipulation.
Because that is a conscious concept for you.
Not necessarily, that's true. Okay, so let's say that it's manipulation to get a silly job, to get a menial job. Yeah, but still it's manipulation, yeah.
But it's unconscious.
Manipulation, yeah.
I have been manipulating a lot in my life. And it's because now I understand that it is out of fear. And I have manipulated for the most stupid of reasons at times. And it's fear, but you do it unconsciously.
Yeah, and of
Very
course,
strange.
That's what the mind control does. It creates a robot so that you are unconsciously doing the work for those who are the slave owners.
How did they amass such knowledge about how the psyche works? I'm really fascinated by that.
Well, a lot through the Nazis.
To Mengele and all those guys.
Not just him. There were many. There were 1,000 German scientists that came to the United States after the Second World War for paperclip. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, paperclip. One of my friends that I'm on a panel with speaking about this was part of Project Paperclip as a
Operation Paperclip. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
As a victim.
As a victim.
Oh yes, of course.
I think I read somewhere that Mengele went to Argentina, and there they used his techniques. I should look it up again.
In the circles of survivors, he was known as Dr. Green.
Dr. Green.
Yeah, they knew him as Dr. Green, and he was here in the United States. He was in the United States.
Yeah.
Maybe he was in Argentina for a little bit, but he was often in the United States.
Yeah, like the MK Ultra program. If I recall correctly, it has been admitted. The existence of it has been admitted without admitting the contents of it.
Exactly. Bill Clinton, of all people, apologized for it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I noticed a strange thing. When Brexit was voted, it was obvious that the people pro-Brexit would win. And then 3 days before that, magically, a socialist politician, and the socialists were against Brexit, if I recall correctly, Jo Cox was her name, was murdered by a fool, by a lone wolf, by a crazy man.
Right, like Marc Dutroux. One single man.
Yeah.
But in this case, a political
Yes,
move.
political assassination, because then that could be recuperated. Because the man shouted just before he shot her repeatedly, or reportedly, death to all anti-Brexit politicians.
All right,
should
and there
look at
you
that.
have your narrative.
That's it. That's it. So they use programmed people.
Mind control slaves.
I am convinced, and people might say that I'm crazy, but I am convinced that the wife of Macron is not his wife, but his handler. That might, it's an opinion. I'm too opinionated.
Oh, don't
too
worry. I'm
opinionated.
just not responding.
You don't have
for
to.
many reasons.
It's my.
But I'm not judging you in any way.
No. And it's my idea, because is it Macron or is it his wife is 20 years older?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are things. Like, there are hardly any leaders in Europe that have children. Have you noticed that? There are like all these prefab.
They're smart.
Yeah. Well, are they smart? Why?
They can't get to their children then.
Yeah.
Children are your weak spot.
It's funny you say that. I have had existential doubts about that. Because I wanted children, and I still want them, but if you do this line of inquiry and try to expose what is behind the scenes, the day you have a child, you have no rest, I think.
Well, I don't know if it's meant to be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
The world is changing again.
It is. And what you say about, you said something about technology evolving, and then the psyche also evolves. I don't know which is first, actually.
Well, the technology that is out there is more advanced. Obviously, it's being exploited. It's now only used for exploitative reasons, so that we have smartphones, but they're being used to spy on us. And, so everything that is out there, we have the technology, except that it's not being used with the right motivation yet, because the man's mind is still, in that place of darkness, of selfishness and greed. And I think it's time. I think the times themselves are ending that, and people are too aware now for it to continue. And I do feel this change very powerfully now.
Well, internet has changed a lot. People now, even the Masons, for instance, their system of secrecy was built on degrees. Everybody knows that there are 33 degrees. Like 100 years ago, when you started in Masonry, they told you that there were 3 degrees. And the third degree is called Master. Whatever can be above Master, I have made it. But that's only the blue. And if one person has the courage to speak out, the distribution of information today is so well organized, it's uncontrollable. They can still control the algorithms of search. They can control the flow of information, but they cannot control the creation of information anymore. It used to be through the universities, and that's where you went to get, informed. But now,
well, you and many others and me, we're all trying to find new ways to exist, that really don't take that toxic power structure into account. It is. I saw a lovely thing. I talk about this pyramid, as the toxic power structure as a pyramid, which, I think that from below, with the love, with the heart, it just has melted. And it's melted to the point that it's already in ruins. And it's just a matter for us to work with it, to the degree that we have to, and then at the same time create alternatives, with our correct motives to do things differently, to do things with love, to do things with people in mind. And when people heal, they become empowered. And when you're empowered, you want your politicians to do what you want them to do.
I don't want any politicians.
Okay, good. I don't want any politicians either. But if you have people who are supposed to serve you, that is the idea. right? That we don't expect from any politicians that they're going to serve us, that they're going to do anything for us anymore. We're so jaded. We vote for them, and then we don't expect that they're going to do what we need. But the idea is that when you put someone in power, that means they have the responsibility to serve. That means that we have to all make sure that those people will do what we want them to do, that they fulfill their promises. That's being empowered. That, and if our taxes are going to wars that we don't want, that we all together stop paying.
Wow, thank you. I've been saying that for 15 years. Don't feed the beast.
But you can't stop by yourself.
No, you have to do it collectively.
Yeah.
But this is one of the things. For instance, all those pedophiles, they come in circles of power, and power is based on a lie, and that lie is exploitative, also on a material level. So if you stop paying taxes, then that whole power structure crumbles. People sometimes ask me, what do we have to do? And I say, what do we have to stop doing?
Right.
And then, they would have to work for a living.
Right. Because it is really lies. And yes, they're lazy.
They are. They're lazy. They're cowardly. They're childish. They're not the elites. We should find another word for them. There's also something... You're
colloquial,
right.
Yeah.
We give so much credit to the power structure, and we also give too much credit to the elites. They're not elites.
No, they're not really noble. They're not really elites, but, we're talking, so just a point of reference.
I know, but language is very important. Like,
well,
we should call them elites or something. False elites, or I don't know.
Right.
Be creative. Like in the comments of this video, be creative.
Okay, great.
We'll see what comes out. But they're not elites. We have to get that out of our minds. I think a guy like working at a baker, working for 14 hours and not thinking about the money, but about making really nice bread for his clients. I think that is elite to me.
Gotcha.
You mean? You know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's all about intention. So the lie is to cover the intentions of those who want the power to control. But power itself is really only a responsibility to serve. That is really what it is. It's a greater responsibility to serve. And that means the triangle is upside down. Because if you're serving, you're below everybody.
True. Leading is serving. Leading is serving. And I tend to make a difference between power and authority.
Right.
Power is the ability to harm without punishment, and authority is the ability to inspire without compensation.
Fantastic.
That's how I see it.
You are really good with those one-liners.
Told you. So, because integrity, I think that is doing the good when nobody's looking. So that's
another good one.
No, that's not mine. That's not mine. I think it's from Alan Watts or something.
All right.
I'm a scavenger. I pick, I steal a bit. But so all in all, you're optimistic for the future.
Extremely.
Wow.
I come from the place where nobody wanted to know anything. So for me, this is like a dream. I could have never, in my wildest dreams, imagined
this.
No.
Wow. That's a nice compliment. Thank you. I think I should just show the book to the camera.
Okay.
Ask people to support you as much as they can by buying it.
Yeah.
And to all...
And the ebook is just out, so...
The ebook is on Kindle?
Yeah,
on Amazon?
13 different platforms.
This is the book, Quest for Love. Buy 2 copies, not 1. 2.
Quest for Love, Memoir of a Child Sex Slave. And I should mention that if you search on Amazon, you will not find it. Unless you look under books.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
It has already been removed. You can still find it on Google, but better use other search engines.
Maybe we should all collect enough money for you to be compensated and then publish it for free. Maybe that's an idea. In any case, it should be translated. It's only in English now?
Yeah.
Well, we should have at least 10 languages. So let's see if that happens. We will
That'll
manifest
happen.
that.
Yes, I
it
know
will-
that will happen.
It will happen. The time is ready, the time is ripe.
And of course, the Dutch and the French translations are the most important.
Because it happened here, your story. And do you think it still happens?
Why not? What has been done to stop it? Nothing.
I think that's very important because, again, people might say, well, that's from the past, but I don't believe it's from the past. I believe it
Well,
still
if
happens.
it's from the past, that means that there was a particular endpoint.
And we haven't seen that.
No, I haven't seen anything. Nothing has been said about it. Now, by the way, I speak to survivors all the time, but I speak to some very young survivors. So I know it's still happening.
Okay.
And that's the say with the leaders of today.
Wow.
Same thing, no different. If anything, it's worse because cell phones and everything and the technology has made things a lot harder for people to leave.
And they can spy more on the victims.
Yeah, make it much harder for them, and also the mind control through the technology.
Can you elaborate a bit on that? I know we're running late, but
Yeah. The everything is used
to torture.
Well, something I can't really speak about because it's client
speak about it.
privilege.
Yeah.
But I know
How they do it. Yeah.
that it's being done.
So it's still going on today. That is what I wanted to hear.
And yes, and you know, yes, there are still children dying today.
That's why we put the little bear there.
Our little teddy bear.
Yeah, just as a symbol to the children that are actually being tortured right now, because it's a global movement. So it's night in any part of the world right now, and it's usually during the night, I guess, that tortures take place. And also November is coming, and what I have gathered is that is the worst month.
October and November and December are very bad, yeah.
The worst months, yeah.
April is really bad, late April.
Is that for the festivities of ISIS or stuff like
I
that?
don't know exactly because I was actually out before I was going on a calendar, but other survivors have to deal with that. From Halloween onward, it's really hard.
Halloween to me is devilish. I have never understood why maimed children walking the streets and scaring everybody would be.
And of course, Christmas, because they want the Antichrist to come. You know, they are anti-Christ. They are anti-Christ. They are anti-Christian. That is true.
We haven't even talked about it. We haven't even talked about that. We have to do it again. We have to do it again because it's very important. I feel that also that Christians are being, well, they hate him. And I think that has to do, if I may elaborate a bit, with the history of. I've tried to track down the black nobility. A lot crosses in Venice, because that was called New Venice, and actually those are Phoenicians coming from the Middle East. And the Phoenicians is a name that was taken on by the Canaanites. And they were famous and hated for their child sacrifices. And who did they sacrifice to? They sacrificed to Moloch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're still being still being worshipped today, Moloch.
Yeah, have you seen that or heard that or?
I've heard it. Not my personal experience, no, but survivors absolutely.
Like Bohemian Grove in the States,
for example.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Oh, I cannot say I'm sure, but I feel that, and that had to do with the monetary system. That's coming into my ball game. And one thing you mentioned, and then we'll close off because we could. But one thing you mentioned is that whenever you try to have some financial success, you didn't succeed.
Until I got to the bottom of the trauma.
That's it. That's it. So on a purely energetical level, money is energy, actually.
It is energy, and I was particularly brainwashed once I said no to being part of their club. I was reprogrammed to make sure I would never feel deserving. I was humiliated and tortured to make sure that I would never feel deserving of success in the classical way, and making money. And that was a very powerful spell that lasted until I got to that particular memory of that being transmitted to me. Once I had the memory, immediately started making money. And now I feel completely empowered. In fact, I mean, it was a very big piece of my healing.
Wow.
Yeah, of course, because if I have freedom financially, that just changes everything, doesn't it?
Of course, yeah. And that's also why the sacrificing of children has to do with the monetary system. It's too long to elaborate now, but it's the negative energy that they harvest from the children that is somehow transmitted into our money, because our money is printed centrally. And this monetary system is diabolic. I'm highly convinced of that. It is preventing people from living in abundance. We could all
That's for sure. It absolutely.
Yeah, because there's one law in economics, in Austrian economics, that is the law of marginal utility. And once you have an experience, people cannot have the experiences of abundance that they need to grow spiritually. In short notice, we won't enter into that. But, I feel there's more stuff. And when the time comes, you would be very welcome here in Bruges.
Thank you.
I think this was the only city where we could have done it, because it's a powerful city in spiritual terms. I'm so happy you came. You took the time to share with us. And
it's a privilege to be able to do that.
Pleasure is all mine. Can I have a hug?
Oh my God, yeah.
A bear hug? Maybe. I'm a bear. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So, dear audience, thank you for your attention. Try to share this video as much as possible. I'm sure it will be censored, but we don't care about that. We are on Rumble and on BitChute. Download it, copy it, put it on a USB stick, whatever, but spread the message. Thank you.